For 7 years, I woke up feeling like I was drowning before my day even began, hitting snooze 5 times, rushing through a chaotic morning, and arriving everywhere feeling already defeated. Sound familiar? Then one day, everything changed. I discovered that mornings aren't just about surviving until coffee. They're the most powerful tool we have for transforming our entire lives. What I'm about to share saved me from a cycle of constant overwhelm and unlocked levels of productivity and fulfillment I never thought possible. The breaking point that changed everything. I still remember that Wednesday morning. I had overslept, again, racing to an important meeting, spilling coffee on my shirt, forgetting critical files at home. I showed up frazzled, unprepared, and honestly, embarrassed. My boss pulled me aside afterward. "You seem constantly overwhelmed. Everything okay?" That was my wake-up call. That night, I fell down a research rabbit hole that would change everything. I discovered successful people weren't just naturally morning people. They had intentionally designed their mornings as the command center for their entire lives. And the science behind it was fascinating. What happened next was a 7-year journey of experimentation, failure, and discovery that completely transformed not just my mornings, but my entire life. Let me share what I learned. 1. The domino effect. Why your first action matters most. Here's something I wish I'd understood years earlier. Your morning operates like a stack of dominoes. The first action you take determines whether the rest fall into place perfectly or scatter chaotically. For years, my first domino was reaching for my phone and immediately absorbing the world's problems, demands, and distractions. This instantly hijacked my brain's chemistry, putting me in a reactive state before I'd even stood up. The game changer? Reclaiming those first crucial moments. When your alarm goes off, don't negotiate with what my friend calls the terrorist in your head. That voice convincing you 5 more minutes won't hurt. It absolutely will. Place your phone charger across the room tonight. When your alarm sounds tomorrow, get up immediately and place both feet on the floor before touching your phone. This simple physical commitment creates momentum that powers everything else. 2. The control center. Mornings as your fortress of calm. Here's what took me years to truly understand. Mornings give us something increasingly rare in today's world: control. They're the one time of day when the world hasn't started making demands of us yet. Before we read any news, check email, or have a conversation with anyone that creates some form of stress, we get to have this one moment that we have complete control of what happens and how we feel. When I protected my first hour as sacred space, everything changed. Starting my day, reactive versus proactive, was like choosing to begin a chess match with half my pieces missing. Write down 3 things that currently steal your morning calm: social media, news, email, etc. For just 1 week, create a morning sanctuary by delaying these until at least 60 minutes after waking. Replace them with activities that fill rather than drain your energy. 3. The neuroscience of prime time. Why your brain loves mornings. What I discovered about our brain chemistry revolutionized my approach. Morning exercise increases production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. This protein literally supercharges your brain, enhances neuroplasticity, and improves cognitive function. Just 4 minutes of high-intensity exercise can increase circulating BDNF by 4 to 5 times. Think about that. Quadrupling your brain power before most people have brushed their teeth. Even more fascinating, your dopamine stores are fully replenished upon waking. This means your motivation and focus potential is at its absolute peak first thing in the morning, before being depleted by decision-making and stress. Set a timer for just 4 minutes tomorrow morning and do any form of movement that gets your heart rate up. Jumping jacks, high knees, or even dancing to your favorite song. Notice how dramatically different your mental clarity feels afterward. 4. The reset button. How cold exposure changes everything. I'll admit, this one took serious convincing. Cold showers seemed like torture, not transformation. But the research was too compelling to ignore. A landmark study of 3,018 participants showed that just 30 seconds of cold shower exposure reduced sick days by 29%. The theory? Cold exposure sends electrical impulses to the brain, triggering a release of endorphins and activating the sympathetic nervous system. When I finally worked up the courage to try it, I was shocked. That 30-second cold finish to my shower became like pressing a reset button on my entire system, instantly clearing mental fog and boosting alertness. Start small. End your normal shower with just 10 seconds of cold water tomorrow. Add 5 seconds each day until you reach 30. Focus on deep breathing through the discomfort. This builds both physical and mental resilience that transfers to every challenge you'll face. 5. The sacred 5. Harnessing your peak performance window. Here's a secret that transformed my productivity forever. The most important 5 minutes of your entire day are those first moments when your brain is operating at peak capacity. I call this the sacred 5. For years, I wasted this optimal brain state on mindless scrolling and reactive tasks. Now I use these precious minutes for my most important, difficult work, the thing I'd otherwise procrastinate on all day. When you bring down the full force of your mind and focus that supercomputer in your skull on these next 5 minutes, you end up doing the best work of your life. Before bed tonight, identify one important task you want to accomplish tomorrow, something meaningful that requires focus. Place everything you need for this task beside your bed. Tomorrow, spend just 5 minutes on it immediately after your morning movement. You'll be amazed how often 5 minutes turns into hours of focused flow. 6. The nature connection. How sunlight and green spaces rewire your brain. The biophilia hypothesis suggests humans evolved with an innate connection to nature. Modern research confirms exposure to natural environments significantly improves cognitive function, executive function, and mental health. Students who engaged with green spaces for just 15 minutes 4 times weekly reported better quality of life, improved mood, and lower stress. This practice also correlates with reduced depression risk and improved ADHD symptoms. When I began taking my morning coffee outside instead of hunched over my phone, I noticed immediate improvements in my creativity and emotional balance throughout the day. Identify one morning activity you already do, drinking coffee, eating breakfast, or even checking emails, and commit to doing it outside or next to a window with natural light for 1 week. Track how this affects your mood and energy levels throughout the day. 7. The intention engine. Setting your day's direction. It's all about intention. When you direct your focus to the good, you will see more good. If your focus is directed to the stress and struggle, you will see more stress and struggle. This principle transformed how I begin each day. Instead of immediately reacting to problems, I started consciously setting an intention, a single word or phrase, to guide my day's decisions. Research shows setting intentions activates the medial prefrontal cortex, improving learning and decision-making throughout the day. This small practice profoundly affects how you perceive and respond to challenges. Choose one word to be your North Star for tomorrow. Write it on a sticky note beside your bed. Possible examples: focus, grace, strength, or patience. When you wake up, before doing anything else, take 3 deep breaths while silently repeating this word. Return to it whenever you feel overwhelmed. 8. The gratitude loop. Rewiring your brain for positivity. Even 3 weeks of consistent gratitude practice results in long-term brain changes that influence how you see the world, reveals a study from the University of California. These changes can be detected through functional MRI studies. Your brain literally rewires itself. I was skeptical until I tried a simple gratitude practice each morning. Within weeks, I noticed I was naturally spotting opportunities instead of obstacles, solutions instead of problems. Place a small notebook and pen beside your bed. Tomorrow morning, write down 3 specific things you're grateful for before touching your phone. The key is specificity, not just my health, but the way sunlight feels warm on my face when I walk outside. 9. The hydration effect. Your brain's morning thirst. Did you know your brain is approximately 75% water? After 7 to 8 hours without hydration, cognitive performance measurably declines. Research shows dehydration significantly impacts memory, attention, and executive function. Drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning not only quenches this thirst, but gives our bodies a much-needed jumpstart. Think of it as oiling the gears of your body's machine. Place a full glass of water beside your bed before sleeping. Drink it completely before your feet touch the floor in the morning. For maximum benefit, add a pinch of sea salt for electrolyte balance. Breaking free. How I finally changed after 7 years. After years of experimentation, I discovered the most important truth. There's no perfect morning routine, only the perfect morning routine for you. The key isn't adopting someone else's ideal schedule, but understanding the principles that make mornings powerful and adapting them to your unique life. When I stopped trying to wake up at 5 a.m. because some CEO said I should, and instead focused on the quality of my first hour regardless of when it began, everything clicked. Today, my mornings aren't perfect. Some days still feel chaotic, but I've built a resilient foundation that transforms even difficult days. The peace, productivity, and purpose I've found through this journey has been worth every early alarm and cold shower. You don't need 7 years to transform your mornings. You can start tomorrow with just one small change. Remember, it's not about perfection. It's about intention. Your mornings aren't just the start of your day, they're the foundation of the life you're building. What will you do differently tomorrow morning? Let me know in the comments and subscribe for another productivity video.